Hello everyone, welcome to this vocabulary session by me. My name is Dr. Gaurav Garg, and in this video I will teach you some words that we use in our day-to-day parlance, in our day-to-day lives. More so nowadays, this is more like a modern vocabulary. So it is very important to use the vocabulary in the right context, and therefore contextual vocabulary will be covered in this video. So let's begin. First word is disposal. Please note, either a person can be at your disposal or a thing can be at your disposal. So let's say somebody or someone. By the way, somebody and someone, it means the same. So somebody or someone is at your disposal means somebody is available to help you. For example, if one of your friends has a lot of work, so you go to your friend and you tell your friend, I know there is plenty of work to do. So I am at your disposal. I am at your service. I am all there to help you. I am available to help you. I am ready to help you. So someone is at your disposal means someone is available to help you. But this someone can easily be something. So if something is at your disposal, it means something is available to be used by you, just as someone was available to be used by you, or someone was available to be taken help from. Next, look at this sentence. Please help me. I have limited resources at my disposal, which means I have limited resources to be used by me. I have only 1000 rupees to provide food to the homeless. The homeless means homeless people. So when you put the before an adjective, it becomes a category of a noun. So that you have to remember. For example, if you wish to say poor people, so either you can say poor people or you can simply say the poor. It means the same thing. Therefore, this is in modern usage, we tend to rather use the poor instead of poor people. For example, we should help the poor. So disposal, something is at your disposal means something is available for you. However, disposal can be used like a verb also, or like a noun also. For example, the process of getting rid of something. The process of getting rid of something, process of getting means process of doing something, which means disposal is used as a verb here. Look at this sentence. The disposal of radioactive waste of a nuclear plant. Now here, the disposal of radioactive waste of a nuclear plant, here it is a subject of a sentence, which means it is a noun. Because the subject of a sentence can only be a noun or a pronoun. And the reverse is also true, which means noun and a pronoun can only act as either the subject or the object in a sentence and nothing else. The disposal of radioactive waste of a nuclear plant, which means you want to get rid of the radioactive waste. And there are three important synonyms for disposal or getting rid of something. One is called discarding. When you discard something means you throw it in the dustbin or you don't use it anymore. You discontinue the use of something. That is called discarding. Next word is one of the most important words, jettisoning. I will cover this word in the next slide. And scrapping. Scrapping, what is scrap? Scrap means your all the rubbish, that is your paper, your organic waste, that all is your scrap. However, scrap also means to cancel. For example, if my friend calls me up and he says, we have a plan for a movie, let's go. So I'm like, let's scrap the plan, which means let's cancel the plan. So scrap can also means to cancel something or to get rid of something. So ultimately I'm getting rid of my plan. In another way, I'm throwing my plan in the bin. Now let's take a look at this word, jettisoning. So jettisoning is actually jettison, which is a verb. And I have just applied ing to the verb. So it means to throw or drop something from an aircraft or a ship. Just like you throw scrap or rubbish or trash in dustbin, similarly you can throw something from the aircraft. So for example, the American aircraft jettisoned the bombs on North Korea. So here from jet we have jettison. That is, the American aircraft dropped the bombs on North Korea. So instead of dropped, you can say jettisoned. Next, we have covered disposal in detail. What is the difference between disposal and disposable? So disposable means something that is intended to be thrown away after use. For example, look at these. These are the sort of containers or glass that you get in IRCTC, Indian Railways. And these are meant to be thrown away, thrown in the dustbin after being used. So these are disposable containers. So here container is a thing, which means it is an object, therefore a noun. And what is the quality of the container? It is disposable. So disposable here is adjective, because an adjective defines a noun or it qualifies a noun or a pronoun. Now next is filth. So what do you throw in the dustbin? It is the filth. Filth means something that is very, very dirty. So from filth we have a word called filthy. Filthy means dirty, mucky or muddy. Now muddy means something that is like a mud. The quality of a mud is that it is muddy. But the filth can not, the word filth is not only restricted to the organic waste or the inorganic waste. But let's say if you are watching a movie and some vulgarity is there, some sexual or explicit content is shown in the movie. What is that? That is also a kind of filth. It is vulgar or obscene. So obscene and vulgar, these are used for explicit content, video content or image content like that. So vulgar, obscene, filth, they all mean the same thing. And you can also say trash. Trash is the word that we use for dirt or your garbage. Garbage is also a good word that you can use. Garbage also means the organic or inorganic, any kind of waste, that is garbage. Now, disposable, therefore, means readily available for the owner's use as required. Please note, it is not disposal, it is disposable. So, for example, there is another important quality of this word disposable. It is used in economics or economy. For example, the middle class is becoming richer. The disposable income of people is increasing. Or you can also say the disposable assets or disposable income. What is disposable income? The income after tax that is ready for you to use is your disposable income. So income remaining after deduction of taxes and social security charges that is available to be spent or saved as one wishes is your disposable income. Now let me clear the difference between the two words once and for all. I have 3000 rupees at my disposal. Let's say my salary is 3000 rupees. So I have got my salary after tax, that is 3000 rupees is my monthly salary. So I will say I have 3000 rupees at my disposal, okay, because it is ready to be used by me. But you can also say my disposable income is 3000 rupees. So that's how you use the words disposal and disposable. So something that is at your disposal becomes disposable. Next is murky. Now please note that when we are talking about something that is very dirty, that automatically means it is not clear. Something that is not clear means unclear. Look at this water. It is not clear, right? It is not transparent. It is rather translucent, or somewhere it is opaque also. So it is not clear. It is cloudy. It is very, very cloudy. It is misty. Mist are the, for example, droplets of water that you see on plants early morning. That is called mist. And therefore what happens is, let's say you own a car. So the windscreen of the car will have mist in the morning and therefore nothing will be visible. Foggy. Foggy also means the same thing. Fog, you know, in the morning we have fog in winters. So as a result, nothing is clear. Our visibility is compromised. So murky means something that is not clear. But how do we use the word murky in our day-to-day lives? Something that is not clear. Now, for example, let's say there was a murder, okay? And that murder was not very straightforward. It was murky, which means it was very difficult to solve. Nothing was clear. Despite the best efforts, the investigating team could not find out who was the murderer, who was the culprit. So it was a murky affair. It was a murky case. Can you recall any murky case in Indian scenario? Well, the Arushi Talwar murder. And there was a movie also based on the true incident that happened, where a doctor couple, we don't know what happened, but it is alleged that they killed their own daughter. So that was a murky affair, because till date it's been going on and on and on, and nobody knows who is the culprit. Now next is transparent versus opaque. So we talked about murky. Now murky was not very clear, but transparent means something through which the light passes easily. So transparent is like very clear water, or let's say there is a lake and you can see the bottom of the lake also. That means the water is transparent. Otherwise you would not have been able to see the bottom of the lake. And opaque means something through which light does not pass. Look at the water in this lake. it is again murky or not clear, and it is opaque. You can't see the bottom of this lake. It is very dirty or murky or opaque. Now there is a intermediate category also which is called translucent, which means limited light passes through it. However, these are technical words. Transparent, translucent and opaque, these are used in chemistry to define the state of matter sometimes. But in English, if we say transparent or translucent, both of these words means clear and opaque means unclear. As simple as that. Next is uninhibited. So before I tell you what is the meaning of uninhibited, let me tell you a word which is called inhibitions. What is inhibitions? So inhibitions means your reservations. When you do not undertake a task, when you don't do something because you are shy or you are not confident, which means you have inhibitions. So when we prefix un before a word, then it becomes the opposite. So uninhibited means the person who does not have inhibitions. He is not inhibited, which means he is uninhibited. He is very active. He is unrestrained. He has not put a check on himself. He is not shy. He is confident. He is unrepressed. You can't suppress that person or oppress that person. He cannot be repressed. He is reckless. Now, reckless is a rather negative word. It means careless. Reckless means someone who is not careful, because that person will just do a thing without even thinking. He is unrestrained, like a dog, for example. Some dogs, they just attack you. So how to control a dog? You put a rope around the neck of a dog, or you put a leash. Leash also means rope, and rope is rope. So what is the meaning of unleash? Unleash means when the dog will be out of control. So uninhibited means out of control, unrestrained. The person or the object or the animal is not under any control. Impetuous. Impetuous means foolish, because such actions are often foolish. When you don't do something without thinking, you are out of control. So for example, there was a silent meeting. Unscripted and uninhibited, they filled the silence with a chant. So look at these two ladies here. There was a silent meeting. Perhaps there was a mourning for some person who had just passed away, and they started laughing. So this was what kind of behavior? Uninhibited. Impetuous means foolish. Reckless means careless. And unrepressed means they should have put a check on themselves. They should have controlled themselves, but they were unrepressed, unrestrained, uninhibited. They went on and on. Then they started laughing like anything. Next is to manipulate. This word can be used in a positive sense also and negative sense also. Manipulate means when you operate something in a very skillful manner. For example, an engineer, he manipulates his laptop. It's a positive thing. Look at this girl. She might be a mahat, who knows? A person who rides an elephant is called a mahat. So she might be a mahat, and it is very important that she operates this elephant in a skillful manner, otherwise she might injure herself. So, but manipulate is also used in a negative way. That is, when you take advantage of someone, when you control a person, or when you are smarter than someone and you use your intelligence for the wrong purpose. You try to use that person or take advantage of that person. In other words, you are manipulating that person. For example, she felt that he had been manipulated by the people he trusted most. So there was this girl who felt that her brother might have been manipulated by the people he trusted the most. Next is cherubic. This word is derived from cherub. And what is cherub? This word is mentioned in Bible. There was a garden of the god called Garden of Eden. And this particular fellow is called cherub in Christianity. He was the savior, or he was the protector of Garden of Eden. And he was a very cute boy, very innocent, very angel-like, very innocent child. So any child, any person or anything that is like a child, very innocent, very cute, then we say cherubic. For example, look at this girl. She is cherubic. So for example, I have made a sentence also. She was on the wide veranda swinging the cherubic boy in the hammock. This thing is called hammock. Something that is used to swing, and you can lie down here and this will keep on swinging mildly, and you can enjoy the wind, and that is sailing across the beach. So she was on the wide veranda swinging the cherubic boy in the hammock. Privation. You must have heard the word deprivation. To deprive someone means to not let someone have that thing. That is to deprive somebody. So our politicians have deprived the people of food because of corruption. So privation means it is a kind of a state in which food and other basic necessities of life, the essential things in life, are lacking or they are not being given to someone. So there are three important words for the same. One is indigence. Indigence is poverty, and a person who is poor is indigent. So indigence is poverty and indigent is poor. Destitution means poverty and destitute means poor. So you can call a poor person a destitute or indigent. And impoverishment means lack of something, severe lack of something, like malnourishment. That is a kind of impoverishment. But there is a difference between the words indignant and indigent. So indigent is someone who has suffered from indigence or poverty, and therefore he is a poor guy. But indignant means someone who is very angry. Someone who is very angry is indignant. Now I made a sentence also. India has suffered through long periods of economic privation, which means economic deprivation. We have not been a country that is known to be very affluent. That means we were economically deprived. Next is inchoate. When something or some plan maybe or anything that is in its initial stages, it is not fully formed, it has not matured, it is inchoate. For example, let's say I put a lot of colors on my canvas. So the painting is still in the initial stages, which means it is inchoate. It has not fully formed or it is still rudimentary. It is incipient, which means it is building up, but it is in its initial stages, early stages. So that is called inchoate. For example, his plan of robbing the bank was senseless and inchoate. So there was a guy, he had his big plans of robbing a bank, but his plans were rather inchoate, which means it was not very clear whether the plan will actually work or not. It was not fully formed or matured. It was not fully developed. It was in its initial stages only. Amok, one of my favorite words, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because the words amok, rampage, and berserk, these are used in a particular context, and there is a way to use these words. Amok, we say to run amok. To run amok means to be uncontrollable and disruptive. Now, disruptive means when you cause damage to something. This word can also be used in a positive way. For example, disruptive innovation. Disruptive innovation means an innovation or a new business or a new thing or a plan or an organization that changes the goalposts, shifts the goalposts, which means it brings something new and much to the discomfort of the existing establishment. That is called disruptive innovation. For example, Reliance Jio. All the other companies were making good profit and they were very comfortable, and suddenly Reliance Jio came and it disrupted the market. So disruptive innovation is a positive word. Apple is used as an example of disruptive innovation a lot of times. Now, to run amok means to be uncontrollable, to behave uncontrollably and disruptively. For example, look at this elephant. An elephant ran amok in Kerala, causing huge destruction to the central market. Please note that before amok you will always find the word run, and the verb is to run amok. But there are two important words. One is called rampage and another is berserk. These three words mean the same, but there is a difference in how these words are used. For example, with berserk you will say to go berserk. So you can also say the elephant went berserk, or you can simply say the elephant ran amok. It means the same thing, but before amok you will use run and before berserk you will use go, any form of go. So here we are using went because we are using the past tense, and we are using ran again because we are using the past tense of run. Similarly, we can also say the elephant went on a rampage. So before rampage we will use to go on a. For example, the river has gone on a rampage and flooded the countryside, which means the river has gone out of control and now it has flooded the countryside, flooded the town. He suddenly went berserk and started killing people. You can also say he suddenly went berserk, or you can say he suddenly went on a rampage. You can also say he ran amok. He suddenly ran amok and started killing people. So there is a difference in how rampage, berserk, and amok are used in English. Next is rest. Now this rest is different from the rest that you as a students are used to. Resting. This is rest, which means to snatch something. Now look at this person. He is Shah Jahan, the great Shah Jahan who built the Taj Mahal. His son Aurangzeb, he snatched power. He snatched the throne from him. So to snatch, you must have heard the term, the word chain snatcher. So these are the felons who pull your chains from your throat and suddenly they run away. So snatch means to seize or to grab something, to pluck like a flower. Pluck word we generally use for flower when you uproot something or when you pluck something. So these all words, they show a sense of detachment. Seize, grab. Now please note there is another word seize which is like this. C-E-A-S-E, seize. You must have heard the word ceasefire. So seize means when something is stopped or there is a period of temporary inactivity. For example, the kingdom ceased to exist, which means the kingdom is no more there. The kingdom has vanished. To cease means to stop. Similarly, ceasefire, what would ceasefire mean? Will it mean that the war is going on or it has stopped? So it will mean it has ceased or it has stopped. Now there is another meaning of rest which means to distort the meaning of something. If somebody has spoken something to you, you might twist and turn and present what he had said to you in a completely different way. That means you are distorting the meaning or you are resting the meaning. But rest is more commonly used like this: snatch, seize, grab, pluck. So for example, he tried to wrest control of the company from his dad, which means he tried to take back the control or snatch the control of the company from his dad. Next is fritter. Fritter will more often than not will be used in this way: fritter away. So this is a phrasal verb, fritter plus away, fritter away, which means to waste something. And what do you waste? You can waste your time like you do. You can waste your money or energy on trivial matters. Trivial means something that is not important, something that is not significant or completely not important. That is called trivial. So we should never fight on trivial issues. We should never fight on trivial matters. And we should not waste or fritter away our time. We should not squander our time. Squander also means to waste, and it's a very, very important vocab word. But there is a word called fetter. Fetter means when somebody is chained or somebody is under control. So that is called fetter. So there is a difference between fritter and fetter. To fetter means to keep a check on someone, to put a check on someone. You can either tie that person or that thing down. That also means fetter. So here we are concerned with fritter. Fritter, so I have made a sentence. He frittered away all of his inheritance on alcohol. And there are people in my acquaintance that I know who have frittered away their wealth on alcohol, which means wasted their wealth on alcohol. Next is purse strings. String means a thread. Thread. Strings means threads. So when you hold purse strings, it means you are under control. So in a family, who has the control of the purse strings or the wallet? Who has the right to manage the disposition of money? Which means money is at whose disposal? So in my family, in our house, it is my mother who holds the purse strings, which means she has complete control over how and where to spend the money. Now there are two more meanings. One is to loosen the purse strings. What will happen when you loosen the thread of your purse? Which means you are spending a lot. You are increasing your expenditure. And if you are tightening the purse string, it means you are decreasing your expenditure. You are trying to be more austere. You are following austerity. You are trying to be in a state of self-denial. You don't want to pursue all the pleasures. You want to tighten the purse strings. So for example, the budget committee is in the process of tightening the purse strings, which means it is in the process of making less and less money available. Next is summon. Summon and summons. These are two different words. One is summon and the other word is summons. What is the difference? Summon is a process and summons is the envelope that you get. So for example, let's say you have harmed me in some way. So what I will do, I will send you a summons. I will send you a notice. I will send you an envelope. So that is the summons, and the act of doing is summon. So summon is a verb. For example, I am summoning you with summons. So to call upon someone for a specific action, demand or request the presence of someone. So in this case, I am demanding your presence in the court, which means I am summoning you. So that is the difference between summon and summons. Summons is the physical envelope or the notice that you get, and summon is the procedure. So for example, the king summoned him back to the palace, which means the king told him that come back to the palace immediately. The CEO of the company summoned me to his office. So summons is a writ issued by law or an order to appear in the court that you receive in the form of a notice or envelope. Next is prophylaxis. Have you heard this old adage or maxim, prevention is better than cure? So prevention means when you don't let a disease come near you because you have vaccinated yourself maybe or taken any preventive medicines. It is called prophylaxis. Prophylaxis means the steps that you take to protect your health and prevent the spread of a disease. You don't let the disease come to you. So that's why they say prophylaxis or prevention is always better than cure. It is always better to not let the disease affect you rather than after the disease having affected you, you try to take medicines. So when we give the polio drops to a child, what we are doing? Prophylaxis. So vaccination is a type of prophylaxis. Next is spearhead. Spearhead means to lead an attack or movement. That means spearheading something. So for example, when Narendra Modi on 8th of November demonetized the notes, then all the political parties went against him. So they were saying that demonetization is one of the worst decisions in the history of India. And who was spearheading the campaign against note ban or demonetization? It was Mamata Banerjee. She was leading the campaign against the note ban. So to lead an attack or a movement is called to spearhead. Next is renege. Please note this word is pronounced not as renege but as renege. Okay, so this is the pronunciation, renege. It means when you go back on a promise, you break your promise that you had promised to someone. You break your contract. So that means you are doing renege. You are reneging. So for example, the politicians are known to often renege on their election promises. So these politicians, they are known to break their promises. Before elections, they will say all the nice things, and after elections, they will simply renege on their election promises. So that is how this word is used, to renege on election promises or to renege on a promise or a contract. Now there is a difference between the word renege and renegade. Renegade is a person who deserts or betrays his own people, his own organization or his own country or set of principles. Therefore, he is a traitor. He cheats his own people or his own organization, or he can be called a defector. So for example, if some BJP politician has joined Congress party, then BJP people will say he is a defector or he is a turncoat or he is a traitor. So that is the meaning of renegade. He has revolted or rebelled against his own party. So for example, Navjot Singh Sidhu, earlier he was in BJP. He was in fact a member of the Rajya Sabha, but he quit BJP and joined Congress, although the results are in front of us. So it turned out to be a good decision going by the results, but he is a defector because he abandoned his own party, his own ideology and went to the opposition. And a person who cheats his country, he is accused of treason. So treason is when you cheat your own country. So there are severe punishments almost in all the countries for treason. Now please note that defector is a person who goes over to the other side, but defecator is different. Defecation means when you relieve yourself in the morning. When you relieve yourself, you go for the bowels, you go to toilet to relieve yourself. That means defecation. And open defecation means when you do it in the open. In fact, 50% of the Indians, 50% of Indians, they do open defecation as per the World Health Organization report. So that is the meaning of defecation. So don't get confused between defecator and defector. Defecator is a person who is simply doing defecation. Dichotomy. Dichotomy means when there is a particular distinction between two things, like black and white. There is a dichotomy. Positive and negative, there is a dichotomy. Di means two. The word die or bi in English means two. So that you have to keep in mind. And for example, light and darkness, there is a dichotomy. So a division or a very fine contrast between two things that is represented as being completely opposite to each other. So for example, there has always been a dichotomy between science and spirituality, as is said most of the times. However, there is an overlap also. So for example, if this is Venn diagram A and similarly you make another Venn diagram B, then there will be a overlap between the two. You must have seen, let's say I'm making, this is a Venn diagram, this is another Venn diagram, and this is the overlap, or they can be mutually exclusive, which means there is no intersection, or there is a well established dichotomy. There is a very clear dichotomy between the two things. So science and spirituality, they are often thought to be as completely against each other. Similarly, if I say, are you in favor of a war or you are against the war? So you are pro-war or anti-war. There is a dichotomy. So when you divide people, when you segregate people, there is a division. When you make your own, groups based on your ideology, that is segregation in the society, division in the society. In other words, you are establishing a dichotomy. So for example, if there is a pro-war ideology and anti-war, it is a clear-cut dichotomy. Similarly, when people come together, it means aggregation or gather. Gather is used for people and accumulate is used for objects. So for example, I accumulated all of my notes, and let's gather at one place. Let's aggregate. So aggregation is the process of joining things. Segregation is the process of dividing things. And it is not always that there is a dichotomy in everything, because dichotomy means clear-cut distinction between two things. So for example, a person can be pro-war or anti-war at the same time, because war is a complex issue. Next is domino effect. So look at these blocks. They are arranged like this, and if you push one block, all the blocks will fall. This is a domino effect. Domino effect means a chain reaction. You must have seen the bicycles parked in a parking. If you push one bicycle, then the bicycle that is next to the one that you have pushed will also fall, and there will be a chain reaction, and ultimately all the bicycles, they fall. You must have seen this in your school days. That is the domino effect. So domino effect is a chain reaction. It's a cumulative effect, or when one small event, it sets off a chain of similar events. Because of one event, other events will happen. That is the domino effect. It is also called ripple effect. Ripple is these wave-like patterns that are formed when you throw a stone in a lake, or when there is still water and you throw a mild pebble in the water, and you will notice all ripples. So the continuing and spreading results of an event or an action, which means all the repercussions or all the results arising because of one event. That is the domino effect and ripple effect. They are used interchangeably. So for example, the ripple effect from the First World War was being felt for at least 40 years after. Because after World War, all the politics, all the global international relations, they were a product of the First World War. They were a result of the First World War. There was huge repercussions of the First World War, and it changed the way the world existed. Next is the butterfly effect. It also means the same thing. Butterfly effect is also called chaos theory. Chaos theory. It is a very technical term. However, it is used in our daily lives. Butterfly effect means when one very small event leads to very big events. That is called butterfly effect. Now let me give you an example. This person is called Muhammad Bouazizi. His name was Muhammad Bouazizi. He was a fruit seller in Tunisia, and he was hit by the police, and he set himself on fire. It led to Arab Spring in Tunisia. It started from Tunisia because the people realized that they were being oppressed by the state, and therefore there was a revolution which led to dethroning of many of the autocratic rulers in the Middle East and Africa. That was called Arab Spring. So just a small event, that is slapping of a fruit seller by police, led to so many big things. It is butterfly effect. Similarly, Hitler, he was denied. He wanted the admission in the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna, but he did not get it. So he was denied the admission by the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna. And what happened because of that? He chose another career. He became a soldier. He became a politician. And because of that, World War II happened. So had he got the admission in the Academy of Fine Arts, nobody would know Hitler today. But it was a small event, and therefore it led to many big events. So it is a butterfly effect. Similarly, there was this story that I found on Quora while I was researching on butterfly effect. And there's this very nice story which is shared by Geoffrey Vedison. And he says that he actually presents a very good example, real life example of butterfly effect. That is, there was a boat that sank, and this boat was carrying Cuban immigrants. So it was a normal event because lots and lots of boats, they sink every day in the ocean. But this particular one was very peculiar because it was carrying Cuban immigrants, and there was a boy who lost his mother. So that boy, uh, his custody was taken by someone in America, and but the according to the laws of America, his parents, that is, his mother was no more, but his father had to be given his custody. But there were no relations between America and Cuba, and as a result, the the boy had to be, but the boy had to be returned to his father. So police, they forcefully took the boy away from his custodian and they gave it to his father. But this made the that time President Bill Clinton very unpopular in Florida, and as a result, Al Gore, who was the vice president in his days, um, he lost the elections, and as a result, Bill Clinton also lost the elections, and there was George Bush. And when George Bush came, then there was Iraq war. So if this boat, for example, had not sank, then Iraq war would not have happened because George Bush would not have come to power. So this is a kind of a butterfly effect. Next is the snowball effect. So snowball effect, it actually starts from an initial state of small significance and builds upon itself, becoming larger. Again, when something very small gives rise to something very big, that is called snowball effect. Take a look at the snow in this diagram. Whenever you push a snowball down, it gathers more and more snow, and by the time it arrives at the bottom, it becomes very big and very dangerous. That is snowball effect. So in other words, again, something very small has triggered something very big. Next is to fall like 9 pins. So you must have played bowling, the game bowling, in which there are these blocks and you push the ball and your aim is just to make the pins fall. Similarly, there was this game in ancient days which is called 9 pins. There were these 9 pins arranged like this, and with the help of this ball you have to make them all fall together. So to go down like 9 pins or to fall like 9 pins means when you are injured or you fail in large numbers. So there was this headline that that in Uttar Pradesh BJP got the resounding majority. So what happened to the opposition leaders who were ministers? They fell like 9 pins, which means they lost in large numbers or they failed in large numbers. So this was the vocabulary session. I hope you enjoyed the session. I covered a series of different types of words in this video. Please share the video so that I am motivated to bring the videos to you in English language. Thanks for watching.